Dear listeners, thank you for your incredible support in helping our channel grow. We're aiming for 1,000 subscribers, so please support us by subscribing and helping us reach this milestone. Now let's start the story. Present, Jack, at the cabin. I'm working my way to Masha, who has just eliminated another suicide bomber, when, son of a bitch, some scumsucker in a Marine uniform is pointing his rifle at Masha. I raise my rifle, but others are in the line of fire, so I yell, "Everyone down on the ground." Unfortunately, not everyone complies, but then thank God. Present, Ira, Mira, and Alexei, at the cabin. It is obvious that many of the troops who have taken residence at Ms. Donaldson's domicile are not and have not ever been military. They are extremely easy to echolocate because of their easily interpreted countenance. The smell of detonated RDX is heavy in the air as these charlatans are suicide bombers. I hate suicide bombers. They are cowards of the greatest magnitude who require utilization of extreme elimination methods. My tympanic receptors cognate the vocal exchange between Jack and Masha Reynolds. Jack commands everyone to relocate upon terra firma, and I echolocate the problem. One of the charlatans is approaching Masha with evil intent, and Jack cannot fire his weapon because innocents are in the fire of line. I withdraw my katana and vocalize a kai with all my energy while the charlatan turns toward me. I hurl my katana with full force. Ira launches her katana at one of the charlatan Marines, and I am amazed as it strikes him between the eyes and transverses its entire length and comes to rest with its hilt resting against his forehead. Not to be done out, I withdraw my pistol and began to eliminate the other charlatan Marines. Unfortunately, my action, while successful, produces an undesired effect. Mira begins to shoot some of the Marines, then other Marines turn their weapons upon her. I level my rifle and prepare to protect my sisters when we hear. Present, Jack, at the cabin. It's pandemonium here. Ira saved my wife. Then Mira begins shooting Marines, which pisses off other Marines. They get ready to fire at Mira, so I command, everyone stand the hell down. That includes Ira, Mira, and Alexei. Thank God they all lower their weapons. However, the Marines grumble. I look at Glenn and command, get control of your troops. Glenn orders, all my Marines shut the hell up. He then looks at the twins and demands, Mira, why did you shoot my Marines? Mira replies, the ones I assaulted with my weapon are not Marines, but charlatans. Ira adds, yes, it is obvious to us which ones are the pretenders. The Marines look at each other, then all hell breaks loose again. Present, Jens, in a world of hurt. When they finally remove Jim from on top of us, I sit up. After I move, Maria sits up and groans, damn, that's the last devil dog pile I want to be under. I ask the doctor, how are Matt and Jim? He replies, Matt is doing much better than Jim. When the bomb detonated, a piece of the carbon fiber handguard of Jim's rifle broke off and embedded itself into his leg. The shrapnel unfortunately damaged his femoral artery. He's unconscious, but we have temporarily stopped the bleeding until he has surgery. I gulp and question, will he survive? The doctor emphatically states, hell yes he will. Maria then orders, Jack and Linus, we need to protect Jens as we move her back into the tunnels. Then all hell breaks loose as the Marines start fighting with each other. Present, Maria, in a world of hurt. All hell has broken loose. All that I can assume is with the Twisted Sisters back and being able to recognize the men who aren't Marines, those imposters have decided it was time to inflict as much damage as possible. I grab Jens under the arm, help her up and say, we need to get the hell out of here. We dash toward the tunnel as rounds dance around our feet. As we approach the tunnel entrance, there's a huge problem. Our path is blocked by what I assume to be one of the pretend Marines. He raises his rifle, and I realize in our haste both Jens and I left our rifles at the scene of the blast. I draw my sidearm and begin firing at him. Jens does likewise, but the scumsucker must be wearing body armor. Then help arrives. Present, Todd, Battle Royal. I am astounded at the Angels of Death ability to discern the presence of false Marines because I am unable to perform the same task. I quickly decide it must have something to do with their female intuition. Unfortunately, with the false devil dogs out of the bag, the bad guys start firing at the real Marines, and a battle royal has erupted. I notice as Jens and Maria head toward the tunnel and run smack dab into one of the false Marines. They pull their pistols, but they are ineffective against his body armor. But most body armor can't stop an arrow. I knock an arrow, take aim and smile as my arrow does what their pistols couldn't. Maria pauses as they pass and pumps 2 rounds into his head. I work my way toward the Angels of Death to see if I can further assist, when something changes my mind, and I move toward Glenn. Present, Mira, Ira, and Alexei, at the cabin. We translocate to an area with bodily protection and continue our battle with the charlatan Marines who have decided they will fight. After locating the cabin, I mouth a silent prayer for my expired and blessed PSG-1. My sorrow motivates me to eliminate more of the charlatans responsible for its demise. However, I am excited to have a new PSG-1 that my Ben actually owned and most likely fired. My sister Mira has resuscitated her previous, before the ill-fated contact with Ben Blaine, motivation once again. She is eliminating the charlatan Marines with haste of post. Then I see something that bothers me extremely. I order, provide cover fire for my derriere. I rise and locomotivate rapidly toward my katana. Some fool attempts to remove my sister Ira's katana from its heady rest. Instead of shooting the offender, she unwisely jumps up and runs toward the katana. I decide that since I have a rifle to assist her, I will ease her task by shooting the charlatan Marine. Then something unthinkable happens. Present, Glenn, battle zone. How the hell did so many fake Marines infiltrate our ranks? Once the twins alert them that they can be spotted by their behavior, they open fire. I rush for cover, pull my firearm, but I sure can't tell one from the other. I look for Jens, but she's nowhere to be seen. I can only hope that she made it to safety. This is a mess. Good men are being lost because of the infiltration. I identify one of the fake Marines, so I pull up my pistol and shoot him. Then the ground shakes and dust and smoke belch out of the shell that remains of the house. Shit, someone set off a bomb in the tunnels. Todd runs up and signs, Glenn, Jens and Maria are in the tunnels. I swear, God, someone just blew up the tunnels. I jump up and order, all my Marines follow me. We run toward the house in the tunnels. Present, Liz and Bernie, in the tunnels. Bernie and I barricade ourselves in a room, and I try to calm Ivan. He complains, many bad men want to hurt Mama. I hug him and say, I'm sure your mother is fine. Then there's a huge explosion, the lights go out, and present, Masha and Jack, at the battle. Ira saves my life in a spectacular manner. I had never seen someone throw a katana. I continue to work on the dead man switch when Jack joins me, and then all Hades happens. When pretend Marines recognize that the twins can discern who they are, they start a battle. Jack questions, Masha, how much longer? I reply, my husband, I am working as quickly as possible. Shit. This is one time I wish that Masha was a soccer mom. What the hell does she think she's doing disarming this suicide bomber's vest? I'm doing my best to keep the fake Marines from killing us when Masha finally announces, Jack, I'm complete. Then there's a huge explosion from the tunnels, and Masha screams, Jack. Vanya is in there with Liz and Bernie. We both jump up and run toward the house. Present, Zarika and Yasmin, in the medical plane. A new lady walks up to us and announces, I am Ms. Horning with Child Protective Services. I am here because it's been reported that you two young ladies have been put in many dangerous situations. I question, which situations are you talking about? She points at my arm and Yasmin in the bed and says, well, for instance, your broken arm and her getting shot because you were both forced to fight a war. Yasmin states, lady, we were not forced to fight. We chose to fight to protect our future husband's property. The lady continues, that's another problem. In this country, we don't force underage girls to marry. I smile and attempt to explain, Miss Horning, we are not being forced to be married. We want to be married. Yasmin informs her, yes, we wish to wed Ben Blaine, the most wonderful man in the world. I will be his second wife and Zarika will be his first wife. She says, I've heard enough. Come on, you two are coming with me. I complain, but I don't want to leave. Yasmin pleads, and I am too sick to leave. Ms. Horning shakes her head. Sorry, you must come with me. Yasmin begins to cry and presses the pain medication button. I loudly complain, I will not go with you. Yasmin swears, yes, you piece of shithead. Leave us now. The nice doctor walks up and demands, who the hell are you? She states, I'm Ms. Horning with Child Protective Services. I'm here to take these two abused girls into custody. He counters, like hell you are. They are both my patients and are not fit to be moved. The next thing we know, the ground shakes. Then a man runs in, whispers to the doctor, and the doctor orders, Ms. Horning, you need to leave because we are taking off. She states, there is no way I'm leaving. He points to two Marines and orders, escort this civilian off my aircraft. They take her as she complains, I will be back with the sheriff. I question, nice doctor, why are we taking off? He stated, there are many suicide bombers in the area, and we will be safer in the air. Then they prepare the airplane for flight. Present, Ben, on the road. I think the truckers knew better than to chase us too hard because they saw Gus's hat and badge. Besides, Wojciech growled like hell at them as we drove past. Gus pointed his thumb over his shoulder and asks, how far are we taking this damn bear? I answer, in the first place, he's not a damn bear. This is Wojciech III. His great-grandfather was a war hero in World War II. Gus apologizes. Sorry, I didn't mean to offend you, but he does smell some. I laugh. Hell, he smells much better than he used to. Someone was brave enough to give him a bath. Gus continues the questions. So tell me about how his great-grandfather was a war hero? The time passes as quickly as the miles as I describe Grandpappy Wojciech's feats. Gus says, well, it looks like you have a welcoming committee here too. I look up and see a huge crowd at the New Mexico border. Present, Stacy and Samantha, on the road. Samantha swears about the Mossad, so I decide to describe my plan. Samantha, how would you like a chance to confront Frank? Her eyes sparkle as she says, oh Stacy, I would love the chance. Can I have a gun or a knife? I giggle. Sam, we really don't want to kill him. She gives me a grumpy look, like all the grump cat pictures on the internet, and says, speak for yourself. I for one would love to castrate the scumsucker. I question, just what purpose would that serve? She quickly answers without thinking, well, it would keep him from ever doing this to another woman. I pose a counterpoint. Is it worth losing your career and going to prison? She foolishly states, they would never do that to me. I look at Bill and question, Bill, you've heard this conversation. What are your feelings? Bill explains, Samantha, you are deluding yourself. If you did that to a man, no matter the reason, you would go to prison for it. Sam scrunches up her face, shrugs her shoulders and asks, then what's the reason for meeting him again? I suggest, well, how about if we only release him when his wife comes to pick him up? Sam grins and says, now that idea I really like. Sam lets her attention slip, accidentally covers one of the men with her weapon, so I command, everyone halt. We all stop and I ask, does anyone know why I stopped our progress? One of the teams says, yes, Ms. Stevens pointed her weapon at me. Sam complains, but it was a mistake. I shake my head and inform her, that's a mistake we need to make sure you never make again. Drop and give me 30. She whines, 30, you're crazy. I laugh, okay, make it 50. She grumbles, hits the ground, and begins to pound out the push-ups. She gets to 20 and requests, can I take a rest? I ask the team member she covered, can she take a rest? He says, yes, Ms. You may have 5 minutes. At the end of 5 minutes, she pounds out another 20, then collapses and complains, I can't do anymore. My arms are dying. I look at the man she covered and ask for his advice. If she can't do any more, then what else is appropriate? He smiles and suggests, high rifle carries while running around the squad. Sam jumps up and states, I'd rather do that. It's easy. I internally grin and know she's going to be complaining in under 10 minutes. We start off running again, and the squad member shows her the high rifle carry while running. I watch and make a reassessment. She's not even going to make 10 minutes. Present, Inga, Tom, and Byron. It's raining hell on the narcotic lord. The trail starts to narrow, so I grab Tom's arm to get his attention, and he questions, what the hell? The team member running point trips a concealed wire, and a large log begins to roll across the trail, hits him in the legs, knocks him to the ground, and rolls over him. I whisper, that's the hell. That was a typical Andes mountain trap. I begin to render aid to the fallen team member as the team lead comes up and questions, how did you know? I reply, after being caught by Jack the Tank Killer, I determined we would see more of Ragnar Benson's man traps. This was a typical Andes mountain trap. We are lucky only the point man was injured. The team leader questions, how do you know so much about these man traps? I answer with a question, tell me, are you and your men city soldiers? He answers, most of the fighting we saw was house to house. Tom says, I say, hell, you were giving me shit about jungle experience when you don't have jack squat. The team leader replies, hey, we spent some time in the jungle. I laugh, yeah, but Inga is right. You're a city soldier, and you're going to get all of us killed if you don't start wising up. Hell, I bet we've already passed by several other traps that didn't work. He questions, well, what the hell do you suggest? Byron interrupts. I calm the team leader. I would suggest that you let Tom or Inga take the point. Tom complains, thanks a lot, Byron. Why don't you shut up and fire your shoulder cannon? Inga says, that's okay, Tom. I would enjoy the challenge of taking the lead. I only have 2 requests. The team leader questions, what are those? Inga says, you allow me to move at my own rate, and you only step where I step. He questions, what about Bill? Inga says, he can't travel. The team leader orders, one of the snipers, get down here and exfiltrate Bill. Inga counters, I wouldn't do that if I were you, otherwise you might lose another man. I would wait until we exfiltrate, and then we can bring Bill out with us. The team leader agrees, and we progress toward the compound at a more sane rate. Flashback, Ben, at the hospital. Son of a bitch. I almost made it to the door when the door flew open. A scumsucker flew into the room and screamed, Allah Akbar. I then found a scimitar swung at me. I reached toward the closest thing, which just happened to be a partially filled bedpan. I blocked the scimitar and proceeded to defend myself, trying to beat the shit out of him. But a bedpan against a scimitar, the odds didn't look good for the good guys. Flashback, Jack, at Jack and Masha's apartment. The news report was sketchy and Masha translated, Jack, Ben was attacked at the hospital. I reacted and then ordered. What the hell? Where were the damn Spetsnaz? We need to get to the hospital. Masha said. I will immediately change into my clothes. I complained. Hell, I can't wait for that. Tatiana wailed. I never should have left him. Masha slapped her then ordered. Pull yourself together and convey Jack to the hospital. I will come as soon as possible. I was shocked at the effect it had on Tatiana. She jumped up, grabbed my hand, and ordered. Jack, come. We ran out the door and headed to the hospital. Flashback, Masha, at her and Jack's apartment. I actually wanted a little time to myself because I needed to accomplish a few things. Immediately after Jack and Tatiana left, I entered my email account and noticed the new message from Irina. I read it and decided I didn't have the time to play her stupid games, so I replied with one sentence. I then sent a message to my other contacts. We needed to put a lid on this rotten kettle of fish. Then I quickly changed, made sure my purse was fully provisioned, and ran out of the apartment following Jack and Tatiana. Flashback, Ira, in Israel. I was so furious I could not vocalize. Masha had stepped across the thin red line. I decided when we exfiltrated I would have to kick her, but sideways 3 times over, shove it up her butt. In other words, a fully frontal assault. I ran to inform Mira of Masha's unbelievable statement. Flashback, Mira, Ira, and Naomi, in Israel. Naomi brought the naked behemoth man to his bed and had him recline on his anterior surface. He loudly brayed, "There is something alive in my butt." I moved toward him and stated, "Accommed. Many times when your alimentary canal is violated, the impression of continued formation continues." He further brayed, "No, I am telling you I could feel it moving, but it has now stopped." I retrieved a speculum and inserted it into the outermost portion of his alimentary canal. I opened the device, shone a flashlight into the alimentary void, immediately leapt back and dropped everything. Naomi questioned, "Mira, what is wrong?" I replied with disbelief, "I oculated ocular units." The behemoth man brayed, "I told you something which was once alive was in there. Get it out." Ira chose this inopportune time to infiltrate the room and yelled, "Mira, I am going to visit unmentionable damage to her butt and then terminate her." She noticed the behemoth man on the bed and questioned, "Are you treating him?" I assured her, "Yes, I am." She questioned, "What are his symptoms?" He brayed, "I have something which was alive in my butt." Ira quizzically looked at me and I again assured her, "Yes, my sister." I oculated its ocular units staring malevolently back at me. Ira scoffed, "You must have made a mistake." I laughed at her scoff and challenged her, "Okay, my sister, you oculate his rectal orifice and relate your oculations." Curiosity acquired the better of her. She acquired my tools, performed the same procedure as I performed previously and opined, "Yes, I also oculate ocular units. Mira, procure me some forceps." I was joy over not to perform the extraction, so I gladly tendered the forceps. Ira labored as the behemoth man brayed, "Ouch. It is hurting me." Ira finally declared, "I have captured the creature." She transported the creature out of its outhide. Naomi oculated the creature and questioned, "What is it?" The behemoth man brayed in relief, "Finally, I feel much better." I giggled and answered, "It is a Mesochrysetus auratus." Naomi stated, "What? A hamster?" I thought the game of hiding the hamster was an old wife's tale. Then Ira said something troubling. Flashback, Glenn, at home. What the hell, interrupting my great dinner? No one was cooking, so why the hell did the smoke alarm activate? I listened closer, then realized it's not the detector in the kitchen, it's the one upstairs. So I pushed back from the table and ran like hell upstairs. I opened the door to Jennifer's room and immediately recognized the problem. Flashback, Jens, at home. Rat, double rats and triple rats. I didn't think before I acted stupid. The smoke alarm naturally went off, so I ran to the bathroom, grabbed my water glass, and began to throw water on the fire. You see, I was so upset at Mother and the stupid dresses I decided to fix them once and forever and set them on fire. Unfortunately, I did not realize what it would do to the carpet. Daddy threw open my door, looked at the mess on the floor, and yelled, "Jennifer, what the hell did you do?" Evelyn walked in, saw the mess, and sobbed. She ruined all her beautiful dresses. Then we heard the sound of fire trucks coming down the street. Daddy complained, "Shit, I forgot to call them and cancel the alarm." He ran downstairs, left me alone with Moo Thursday, who ordered, "You're fortunate you're a prima ballerina, otherwise I'd make them take you to jail for this." In desperation, I came up with a great idea and interrupted, "Yes, Mother. I am now a prima ballerina, and I let my emotions get the best of me. Just as when I called you the bad name the other day. You of all people should know how moody prima ballerinas are." She looked at me, and I knew it had worked when she said, "Well, I guess that I will overlook this mistake along with the other mistake. But you need to learn to better control your emotional outbursts." I know next time you feel an emotional outburst coming you must practice ballet. I smiled and lied. Thank you, Mother. That is an excellent idea. Yes, my plan worked. If I had to do stinky ballet, at least I could also use it to get some things that I wanted. I then pushed, Mother, you know part of the problem is I am so hungry that I wasn't thinking straight, and therefore I didn't consider doing ballet. I watched her think, then she ordered, Jennifer, strip out of your clothes. I want to see if you are too fat. I begrudgingly took off my clothes. Mother came over to inspect me, and then IT happened. Flashback, Todd, on the island. I was restrained in a cave, heard a noise, turned and saw a waif of a woman who appeared to be Oriental. A woman who was probably no more than 90 pounds soaking wet, had done this to me? I rattled my shackles and made a motion that I wanted to be released. She countered and raised a blowgun. I held both hands in front of my face and tried to say no, but all that came out was a strange noise. She motioned for me to sit down, which I did. Then she came closer, started to change the 4 bag, and I saw my chance. I grabbed her arm and she. Flashback, Alexei at home. The cryptex was an interesting problem. It consisted of a stone cylinder comprised of 5 donut-sized discs of marble that had been stacked and affixed to one another within a delicate brass framework. End caps made it impossible to see inside the hollow cylinder. Each of the discs was carved with the entire alphabet. Since they could be rotated individually, the discs could be aligned to spell different 5-letter words. I was given no information on whether the letters could repeat, so I had to assume they could repeat. This revealed there were 265 or 11,881,376 unique combinations. To manually attempt all these combinations would be the task of a lifetime. I decided there must be a better way, so I started by trying social engineering. I entered ALEXI and of course it didn't open. That would have been too easy. I decided there had to be an easier way, so I went back to the computer and started to write a program which would output all the actual 5-letter words. Flashback, Masha, Jack, and Tatiana, on the way to the hospital. I quickly overtook Jack and Tatiana on their way to the hospital. Jack commented, Damn, that was fast, and you look great, honey. I blushed because I knew I did not have time to correctly apply the slight amount of makeup I used. Tatiana grinned and teased, Yes, Masha, you look great. I made sure she saw the figa, clenched fist with the thumb going between. The first and second fingers, equal to the bird. I expressed with my hand while I commented, Thank you, Jack. Tatiana continued to annoy me. What? Is there no thank you for me? This time I laid my second finger along my face and sarcastically inquired, Thank you, Tatiana. However, aren't you concerned about the condition of your makeup when we arrive to meet Ben? If I'm not confused, and I'm damn sure this time I'm not, Masha just flipped Tatiana the bird. What the hell is going on between those two? I should have known better to tease Masha. She retaliated with a huge concern of mine. I pulled out my mirror, looked at myself and I looked like a clown due to all the crying I had done. I began to try to fix my face when Masha ordered, Tatiana, we do not have time for this. I scratched my face with the second finger of my hand. Hell's bells. I was missing something huge going on between Masha and Tatiana. They had now both flipped each other the bird. We arrived at the hospital, rushed in, and I demanded, Where the hell are all the Spetsnaz? After Masha translated, the receptionist answered, They were called away on another mission. I continued, What about Ben? Masha again translated, What about Ben Blaine? Flashback, Ben, at the hospital. Somehow, perhaps it was luck or someone praying for me, I beat the Chechen into submission and then some. Yeah, I beat the shit out of him. I took away his scimitar, prepared to execute the coup de grace with it when the press ran into my room and questioned, Sergeant Blaine, are you okay? I flipped the scimitar over, beat the scumsucker with the blunt side and stated, Hell yes, I'm fine. But where the hell are the Spetsnaz? One of the reporters, who was sort of cute, replied, They heard of a Chechen group reforming in the city and went to investigate. I thought, This is great. Leave me here by myself unguarded. The cute reporter girl continued, So, you defeated the Chechen assassin? How did you accomplish that? I replied, Well, I used whatever was close to me, and in this case it was a bedpan. We call those field expedient weapons. She giggled, and I liked the hell out of her. She stated, Well, it smells like the bedpan wasn't totally empty. I thought for a moment and replied, Well, it wasn't, and I sure could use some help cleaning up. She smiled at me and offered, If you don't mind, I would gladly help clean you. Then I heard. Flashback, Ira, Mira, and Naomi, in Israel. After I extracted the mesochrysetus auratus from the behemoth man's alimentary canal, I stated, Mira, we have an issue here. It appears the mesochrysetus auratus has damaged the alimentary canal with its claws and teeth. The behemoth man brayed. No wonder it still hurts. I walked over, examined the behemoth man's alimentary canal, noticed the damage and suggested, "Ira, I think we need to do an alimentary lavage with alcohol." The behemoth man continued with a behemoth bray. "What? You want to put alcohol up my butt? That will kill me?" I pondered for a moment. It would not kill him, however, he was correct that the pain would be intense. After reflection, I added, "Ira, perhaps an application of lidocaine prior to the alcohol lavage would be beneficial?" Naomi commented, "Yes, after the initial sting, the lidocaine greatly helped me handle the pain of the debridement of my knees." I removed a new syringe from the medical bag, filled it completely with lidocaine, then commanded, "Please restrain the behemoth man." He brayed, "I thought it wouldn't hurt, so why must you restrain me?" Naomi explained, "It will just sting initially." They restrained him while I flooded his rectum and alimentary canal with the lidocaine. The behemoth patient screamed in pain and then flopped around on the bed like a pike out of water. I was forced to jump on his bare behemoth massive ass, and I don't mean donkey, to help hold him to the bed. He cried, "Oh my God, that hurts." Naomi comforted him, "Master, the pain will leave soon. Please be patient." The pain finally subsided, so I oculated Naomi and requested, "Do you have any vodka in the domicile?" The behemoth man brayed, "I won't have that vile liquor in my house." Naomi added, "Mira, we only have wine and champagne." I thought for a moment and stated, "Neither of those will work because the alcohol content is not sufficient. Ira, please accompany Naomi and purchase at least a liter of vodka." Naomi questioned, "Mira, cannot we use the rubbing alcohol which I used to massage my master?" I informed her, "Unfortunately, no. The alimentary canal will absorb the alcohol, and isopropyl alcohol would poison him." Ira and Naomi left, and I could not believe what the behemoth man then asked. Flashback, Tatiana, Masha, Ben, and Jack at the hospital. The receptionist told us that my Ben defeated the Chechen assassin and that he was being interviewed by the news. We walked into Ben's room. The Chechen was lying wounded on the floor, and the room smelled like feces. Then I heard a woman reporter as she offered, "If you don't mind, I would gladly help clean you." I exploded, "If you touch my man, it will be the last man that you touch." Everyone turned, looked at me, and the reporter brazenly asked, "I thought you were a lesbian, and isn't that your lesbian lover behind you?" I lunged toward the reporter, but was restrained. Tatiana lunged toward the reporter that flirted with Ben, but I grabbed her and then ordered, "Jack, please aid me." Jack assisted. Tatiana spun and tried to strike me and Jack. My Jack intercepted and deflected the punch. Then he drew back his arm when Ben yelled. I yelled, "Jack, she might not be my personal nurse any longer, but she is still my girlfriend. If you hit her, I'm going to kick your butt." Jack complained. She was going to hit Masha. I stated, "Jack, there's a difference between two women hitting each other and you hitting a woman, especially my Tatiana. You hit her, and you have to answer to me, and even though I'm in a wheelchair, don't think that I couldn't take you. Hell, I just beat the shit out of a Chechen assassin, so I know I can still beat the shit out of you." I knew I needed to do something to save the situation, so I laughed. "So Ben, is that why it smells like shit in here?" It worked, and everyone laughed. Then Ben explained, "Hey, I grabbed the first thing that was handy and used it. It wasn't my fault it wasn't empty." Tatiana stated, "Well, if you had not fired me as your personal nurse, it would have been empty." Ben countered, "Well, it wasn't working out with you being both my personal nurse and my girlfriend. So you decide which one you'd rather be." Tatiana immediately decided, "If I can only be one, then I choose to be your girlfriend." Ben surprised the hell out of us with what he said next. Present, Jack and Masha, at the cabin. In our haste to head to the tunnels where Vanya could be trapped, we forget about evading any fake Marines. I feel a round hit me in the arm and grunt. Masha declares, "Jack, you've been shot." I mention, "I've had worse. We can look into this after we find Vanya." I turn and see the person that shot my Jack and open fire with my pistol. Even though he is wearing body armor, he goes down because body armor is no match for the potent GSH-18. The GSH-18 is a short, recoil-operated, locked breech pistol, firing 7 in 21, the 7 in 21 9x19mm overpressure variant. 80.2 grain bullet at 1,509 frames per second. Features an armor-piercing bullet and generates a peak pressure of 280 MPa, 41,000 psi. Ammo. No one shoots my husband and gets away with it. I turn back and inform my love, "I shot him, Jack." We arrive at the house, attempt to enter the tunnels, and present, Glenn and Todd at the cabin. We hightail it for the cabin, and I forget about the fake Marines. But Todd doesn't. He turns and continues to fire his arrows at the fake Marines. How he knows they are fake, I don't understand. Then I lose Todd as my protection. Where the hell did he go? I watch the terrible triumvirate to figure out which Marines are the false Marines. When they identify and shoot at one of them, I apply the coup de grace with my arrows. I see Irina jump up and run toward a false Marine trying to take her katana. Her brother fires at the man, but his body armor deflects the round, so I stop, fire 2 arrows at him, then run after him. Present, Ira, Todd, Mira, and Alexei, at the cabin. I shoot the man going after my sister Ira's katana, however it does not stop him. Then Todd puts 2 arrows into him and runs toward him to aid my sister. Mira commands, Alexei. They are wearing body armor, therefore only head or extremity gunshots will affect their continued ability for combat. I watch in amazement as Todd reaches the man before my sister Ira. I reach the man, realize he has a suicide vest on, and was waiting for the opportunity to activate it. I note a switch in his hand, put an arrow through his eye, then rush forward and encompass his hand in mine to prevent him from releasing the dead man's switch. Ira runs up and can see what's going on, which is good because it's difficult to sign with one hand. She reaches into her pack, removes some duct tape, and begins to tape the man's hand closed. Then rounds begin to hit close to our bodies and Ira does the most amazing thing. There is no way that I would let Todd, after saving me and my katana, receive a bullet wound to his corporeal self. So when the charlatan Marines commence firing at us, I shield his body with mine. I am wearing our superior body armor and know that even if I am hit, I will only receive bruises from the rounds. I watch my sister Irinka shield Todd with her body and order, Alexei, we must eliminate haste of post all charlatan Marines if we are to save our sister and provide a sufficient distraction. I jump up and begin running in a zigzag line toward them while firing at every charlatan which I oculate. I follow Mira and ensure the demise of the charlatan Marines she fires at. She shoots them to gain their attention, and I complete their incapacitation with a head or extremity shot. Things are going well until I shoot one of the in the head. As he falls, he opens his hand, and then the whole world explodes. Present, Jack and Masha, at the cabin. We attempt to enter the tunnels, but there's no entrance to be found. Masha begins to claw at the rubble and cry, Vanya. I pull her away, look her in the eyes, and declare our alternative, the back entrance from the workshop. We run our butts off toward the workshop entrance. Present, Glenn, at the cabin. We reach the house as Jack and Masha run out. Jack yells, there's no entrance to the tunnels here. We're going to try the workshop entrance. We change direction to follow them, and Masha adds, Ivan was with Liz and Bernie in the tunnels. I offer more information. Todd says Jennifer and Maria are in the tunnels. We almost make it to the workshop when the ground shakes and the workshop erupts into a fountain of debris. I fall to the ground. Jack grabs Masha and falls to the ground while Masha wails, Ivan. Then Jack does something unthinkable. Present, Jack and Masha, at the cabin. Linus runs up as I stand up. His only question is, Maria? I answer his question and order, Jennifer and Maria were in the tunnels. Linus, haul to the TSIF's trailer and pull up the schematics for the tunnel system under the cabin. Linus begins to question, how do you know? I interrupt, because the TSIFs can get any damn information they want. I look at Glenn and order, Glenn, there's still a battle going on between the real and bogus Marines. I would suggest you and 4 of the Marines that are here with you find the twins who can ID the bogus scumsuckers. Follow their lead and eliminate with extreme prejudice the bogus Marines. Glenn starts to open his mouth, but I nip it in the bud and order, Glenn, who the hell did your daughter say was in command? He agrees. She said you were in command. But what the hell are you going to do? I answer, I have an idea. Then I order, the rest of the Marines follow me since I will need you to set up a perimeter and help me. My husband has taken charge, but I hope it is not too late for my darling boy Vanya. We run over to the ventilation system, and he orders, 2 of you set a perimeter and shoot anyone other than Linus or Glenn who comes within 100 yards. The rest of you help me rip the hell out of this. Jennifer's dog runs up, sniffs at the ventilation system, then begins to howl and paw at it. That extremely motivates my husband and the Marines. They begin to disassemble the ventilation system at a rapid pace. Then the Marines on the perimeter begin to fire. I turn and see what they are firing at, raise my pistol, and assist them. Present, Todd, at the cabin. I cannot believe that Irina shields me with her body. I start to fight, but she orders, Todd, I am wearing body armor. I touch her arm and realize it's not only body armor, it is incredible body armor. Then she grunts several times and explains, even with the body armor, the rounds still hurt and leave contusions. I struggle and try to sign, but I can't. There is no way I want her injured for protecting me. Present, Glenn, at the cabin. I'm not sure about being ordered around by Jack, but now is certainly not the time to be arguing about this. Not when Jennifer's life could be at stake. I see one of the twins and their brother running and gunning, so I order my Marines, come on you devil dogs, let's kick the shit out of the bogus Marines. I pull up my pistol and begin to fire at the men they are firing at, and then the whole world seems to explode. Present, Zarika and Yasmin, in the medical plane. When we are in the air, the nice doctor comes up and questions, "Did you two talk to anyone about your injuries and how you received them?" Yasmin is still unconscious from her pain medicine, so I answer, "Yes, I described everything to the nice nurse that cleaned up my cast." He smiles and says, "That's what I thought. Excuse me, and I will be right back." Yasmin wakes up, smiles at me and asks, "Is the shithead lady gone?" I reply, "Yes, and we are flying in the airplane hospital." The nice doctor comes back, gathers a chair, sits, and says, "Okay, I'm going to tell both of you something. Things are very different in America, and you need to be very careful to whom you convey information about how you were injured and who and when you're marrying." Yasmin questions, "Nice doctor, why is it a problem?" He explains, "In this country both of you are too young for marriage or even the act of sex." I demand, "What sort of backwards country is America? I thought it was progressive. In my country, many girls younger than me are already married and have children." He informs us, "Well, the girls in America mature at a slower rate, so there are laws to protect them from being abused." I counter, "Being married is not abuse. Being married is an honor." He shakes his head, "Well, it's abuse here until you are of a legal age, which in most states is 18. I fired the nurse that you told everything to because she called the Department of Health and Human Service to report what she felt was abuse. Please do me a favor and don't tell anyone else." He leaves, and Yasmin whines, "Zarika, we cannot marry Ben until we are 18. I cannot believe it. I will be an old maid lady by then." I think, and then I whisper, "Yasmin, I have a plan." Present, Ben, on the road. There are 4 highway patrol cars blocking the interstate just on the New Mexico side of the border. Behind them is a hell of a crowd, which they are doing their best to control, and of course many semi-trucks. Gus stops his truck on the Texas side of the border. Wojciech and I hop out of the truck, and a New Mexico patrolman walks toward me and demands, "What the hell is a bear doing out here?" He sure as hell can't ride in one of the patrol cars, but I can get someone to take him to an animal shelter. That comment and his attitude pisses me off, and I say, "Like hell. He's a free bear, not some sort of circus attraction." I grab Wojciech, hug him, and say, "You'd better get the hell out of Dodge." Wojciech howls and climbs back into Gus's truck. Gus complains, "What the hell am I supposed to do with him?" I suggest, "Why don't you head toward Austin? He will let you know when he wants out." Gus speeds away with Wojciech. I guess he feels his job is done. With that problem solved, the New Mexico patrolman says, "We're here to make sure that we don't have the same issues with you in New Mexico as they had in Texas." I think this is great. My notoriety preceded me. I decide if I ever do go back to Texas, I need to kick that commander's butt. Then he adds, "By the way, we will need to search your pack for possible illegal weapons. So please step across the border and surrender your pack for inspection." Well, I'm screwed because any weapon that's worth owning is illegal. And my M4 is certainly illegal. Then I get a hell of an idea. I raise my hands and yell to the crowd, "I guess New Mexico doesn't want me to enter. Sorry, I'm staying in Texas." It has the effect that I thought it would. The crowd surges forward, overrunning the highway patrol. The semis fire up their engines and they drive around the roadblock while the patrolman complains, "USOB, I can't believe you did that." I grin at him and say, "I love it when a plan comes together." Present, Stacy and Samantha, on the road. Samantha is holding her rifle over her head while running around the team. This is her punishment for accidentally covering a team member with her rifle. I have been taping this for her interview tonight. She lasts about 5 minutes and whines, "Stacy, my arms are ready to fall off." I reply, "There is only one way that you're going to be able to stop." She questions, "What is that way?" I grin and remember what Ben did to me as I say, "You have to surrender your rifle until you can prove you know how to safely carry it." She agrees. "Okay, I will gladly do that." We stop. I take her rifle and hand it to a team member. Then I bend down, pick up a stick and state, "This is now your new rifle." Samantha complains and reminds me of me when Ben did this to me. "Stacy, this is embarrassing." I smile and admit, "Yes, it is, but you agreed to it. You also might want to know what happens if you accidentally cover one of us with your stick rifle." She gives me the grumpy cat look again, which I notice Bill captures on the video, and questions, "Well, tell me what happens." I look at the team and motion for them to respond. They all yell, "We beat the hell out of you with the stick." Samantha whines, "I bet Ben never did this to you." I look at the camera and taunt, "He sure as hell did. Not only that, he made sure to pull down my panties when he spanked me with the stick rifle." Samantha questions, "How many times did you mess up?" I think she played right into my hands and reply, "Once for real and 3 or 4 times, just so Ben would pull down my panties and spank me." I'm not so sure that Stacy just didn't pull a fast one on me. So I counter, "Well, I'm not letting you pull down my panties and spank me." She grins and replies, "Well, of course not. Because you're not anyone's girlfriend here, so you don't get the girlfriend treatment. I notice that Bill has the video camera running, and I decide the best thing to do right now is to shut the hell up. Then it happens. Present, Byron, Inga, and Tom. It's raining hell on the narcotic lord. Inga calms us and says, "Guys, we are under attack." I can hear the fire in the background of her message. Shit, that was all they needed. First the damn traps, and now the frontal attack. I glass them with my scope and notice that I can see the muzzle flash of the scumsuckers shooting at the recon team. I get pissed off, calm the other two snipers and order, "We need to kick some serious butt. Recon team, make sure you don't fire toward us, and we're going to give you all some help." So we began to lay down hellacious fire at the muzzle flashes. I hear the ballistic crack of the 50 caliber sniper rifles as the projectiles pass closely over our heads and smile to myself. Yes, they are using the muzzle flash of our attackers to zero in on their position. Then something very interesting happens. Damn Byron is shooting too damn close over our heads, and I need to do something before the old scumsucker shoots one of us. I yank the mortar out of my pack, set it up, find the illumination rounds, drop one in the mortar, and yell, "Fire in the hole." It illuminates the entire area. I don't like what I see and swear, "We need to get the hell out of here." Like yesterday, Tom illuminates the AO, area of operations, with an illumination round from that damn old-as-hell mortar he likes to carry, and there are more tangos after them than Carter has little pills. I calm the recon group. "You guys need to haul out of there while we provide covering fire." Inga says, "We do need to leave, but we can't rush because some of us just discovered another trap. This one is a pit trap, and 2 of our men have already fallen in." I swear, "What the hell? I thought you guys were recon." Then I motivate the other snipers. "Come on guys, it's time to nut up or shut up." I decide we need some fighting music, so I begin to sing one of the best fighting songs ever written. We fired our cannons till the barrels melted down. Then we grabbed an alligator and we fought another round. We filled his head with cannonballs and powdered his behind. And when we touched that powder off, the gator lost his mind. Then everyone joined in on the chorus. We fired our guns and the idiots kept it coming. There wasn't near as many as there was a while ago. We fired once more and they began a running. On down the Mississippi to the Gulf of Mexico. The first illumination round burns out. I complain as I find another illumination round. "Byron, don't quit your day job." Byron laughs. "What? Don't you like my singing?" Inga giggles. "Is that what was on the comm? I thought it was 2 bullfrogs mating." I add, "Or a donkey dying." We laugh like hell. I light things up again, look at my supply of rounds, and come up with an unusual idea. What the hell? The whole forest where a group of the narcotic lord's men erupts in an explosion. I calm. "Tom, what the hell just happened to my targets?" Tom laughs. "I nuked the hell out of them with the mortar." I question, "How the hell did you do that?" He informs, "Well, your song gave me an idea, so I sort of turned it into a cannon. And it works much better than that pansy shoulder cannon of yours." The forest erupts again, and we can see the damn narcotic lord's army hauling in the other direction. And then I laugh my butt off when, flashback, Ben, at the hospital. I was glad that Tatiana chose to be my girlfriend and not my personal nurse, so my first request, I say request because you sure as hell don't order a woman to do anything, was, "Okay, girlfriend, how about you finding me a new personal nurse to take your place?" She countered, "Ben, I really wouldn't mind cleaning you up." I knew she was going to say that, so I asked for confirmation. "So then, you're really my nurse and not my girlfriend?" I almost laughed as she said. Flashback, Tatiana, at the hospital. Ben was being extremely stubborn, even more stubborn than usual. I offered to clean him up, but he implied if I did I wasn't his girlfriend. I questioned, "So does this mean a girlfriend can't clean up her boyfriend?" Ben shocked me, because the news crews were still here and recording everything. When he replied, "Not unless we're taking a shower together. Then we can really clean each other up." I blushed while the sassy little reporter, who I instantly hated, stated, "My offer to help is still valid if you require assistance." I glared at her and answered, "Ben needs a real nurse, not someone who pretends to be a nurse." However, she countered, "Oh, I am also a real nurse, not just a reporter. So Ben Blaine, would you accept me for your new personal nurse?" Flashback, Jack, at the hospital. Was Ben crazy, or perhaps he had a brain injury from the most recent accident? The cute little reporter offered to be his nurse while Tatiana's mouth gaped open as Ben replied, "That sounds like it would be a great idea, especially since Tatiana has not found me a replacement yet." Tatiana whined, "Don't I get a say in this? After all, I am your girlfriend." Ben replied, "Well, honey, you had a chance to find a new personal nurse for me, but you didn't. She's here. She made the offer, and I sort of like her." Masha wisely grabbed Tatiana by the arm and escorted her outside. Ben's new private nurse ordered, "We need everyone to leave the room before I start to bathe my new patient." The other news crews grumbled and left while I stayed, but she glared at me and demanded, "That includes you, sir." I complained, "I work for a damn living, and I am not a sir. However, I am the highest-ranking American in this room right now." She cutely waved her hand at me and said, "I would not care if you were President Putin, now shoo." Ben fought back a laugh at me for being shooed out of the room. I stepped out of the room and right into flashback, Masha, in the hallway outside Ben's room at the hospital. I exercised my authority and wisdom while escorting Tatiana into the hallway before she killed the little news girl, who I guess is Ben's new personal nurse. Tatiana complained, "I should go back in and kill both of them." I attempted to calm her. "Tatiana, I'm sure that Ben is doing this for a reason." Tatiana continued to complain, and I don't really blame her. If Jack had a nurse who looked like her, I would be upset. Then Jack walked into the hallway. Tatiana looked at him and questioned, "Why aren't you staying in there while she bathes Ben?" Jack stated, "She wouldn't let me. She shooed me out of the room." I couldn't prevent Tatiana from taking her next action. Flashback, Tatiana, at the hospital. I stormed back into the room expecting to see something revolting, and I was surprised when I saw the little bitch had changed into scrubs and was actually giving Ben a very demure sponge bath. Ben was under the sheets while she interviewed him. She questioned, "So tell me more about your feelings for your girlfriend Tatiana. Does she know how much you love her?" Ben laughed. "She's here now, so you can ask her yourself." She turned, smiled at me, and questioned, "Hello, Tatiana. Do you know how much Ben loves you?" I stammered, He does?" She smiled and answered, "Of course he does. I could tell the minute I first saw you two together." I continued, but I thought you wanted to?" She giggled and interrupted, "No, Tatiana. Ben is not my type, if you understand what I mean." Ben said, "Yeah, I could tell immediately. That's why I chose her to be my new personal nurse. I didn't want to make you jealous." I stammered, You knew and didn't want me to be jealous?" Ben laughed and declared, "Hell yes, that's what I did, and you keep confusing me with Russian men. I will never do anything to make you jealous." Ben's new personal nurse said, "Now shoo and let me finish giving him his sponge bath. Your presence here is creating a problem." I unwisely questioned, "What problem is that?" She stepped aside, pointed at the tinted bed, and explained, "That problem. He didn't do that when it was only me in the room." I was stunned as I retreated into the hallway. Flashback, Masha, in the hallway outside Ben's room at the hospital. I tried to follow Tatiana into the room, but Jack restrained me and ordered, "Masha, we need to let those two work out their own problems." I complained, "But Jack, she could really hurt that other woman." Jack replied, "Ben would never let that happen." I was sure that Jack was incorrect since he probably had an incomplete assessment of Tatiana's skills. While we argued about this, a very strange-looking Tatiana entered the hallway. I questioned, "Tatiana, what is wrong?" She smiled at me and replied, "Nothing. Ben's new nurse is a lesbian and has no interest in Ben other than obtaining a method to exclusively interview him." Jack stated, "Yeah, I sort of figured she was. But I need to get in there and have a talk with Ben." Jack went into the room, and I began to question Tatiana. Flashback, Ben, at the hospital. Jack walked into the room. Elena, that was my new nurse's name, turned and complained, "I thought I shooed you out of the room." Jack explained, "I need to have a word with Ben in private, so you will need to leave the room." "And that's an order." Elena left the room. Jack walked over to the bed and ordered, "Ben, you need to be careful what you tell your new personal nurse. Remember, she is a reporter." I complained, "Jack, you old fart. You must be confusing me with you." He demanded, "What the hell do you mean?" I laughed. "Hell, you're so Twitter-pated and partly senile you'd tell Masha anything she asked." I knew what I was doing when I chose Elena for my personal nurse. It's the best way to control exactly what is said to the press over here. Jack countered, "Like hell I would." "You take that back." I laughed some more and argued, "Like hell I will. You need to have a serious talk with yourself, and you'll see I'm right. Now get the hell out of my room and send Elena back in before my bathwater gets too cold." When I walked back into the hallway, Elena was talking to Masha and Tatiana, and they were laughing. I walked up and said, "Ben said his bath water is getting cold." Elena turned, saluted, and sarcastically said, "Yes, sir," and then gaily skipped into his room. I looked at Masha and Tatiana and questioned, "Is everything okay?" They both stated, "Of course. Why would there be a problem?" I thought, women, who can understand them? My stomach growled, and Masha surmised, "Jack, you must be hungry. We need to find you something edible. Tatiana, why don't you accompany us and bring something back for Ben?" Flashback, Yints, at home. I'd set my clothes on fire, and Daddy left to talk to the fireman. I'd won sort of a victory with Mother by playing the prima ballerina card. So Mother had me take off all my clothes, which was embarrassing as all heck, and then IT happened. A fireman burst into the room. I screamed and tried to cover myself with the closest clothes. Unfortunately, it was one of the dresses that I'd set on fire. Then I screamed for real, "Help me! It's burning me." The fireman ran up, quickly pulled the hot clothes off me, and covered me in his big fireman's coat. More firemen and Daddy entered the room. Daddy demanded, "What's wrong?" I continued to cry while the fireman explained, "Your daughter was frightened when I entered the room and unwisely tried to cover herself with the hot clothes on the floor." Mother added, "Yes, she is much too prudish to be a prima ballerina. They must grow accustomed to men fantasizing about their bodies." I vividly remember when all men fantasized about mine. Father said, "Jennifer, we need to get you to the hospital immediately." The fireman agreed, "Yes, sir, that's correct. We need a burn specialist to assess and treat her burns, and the sooner this happens, the better." Daddy ordered, "Evelyn, please pack a bag for Jennifer and bring it to the hospital later." I looked at Mother and realized, and was surprised Daddy didn't. Perhaps love really is blind? That wasn't going to happen since she was too drunk again to drive. I bravely declared, "I am fine and don't need to go to the hospital." Daddy disagreed. "Princess, you are going to the hospital whether you like it or not." We began to leave as a Russian report came on about my bin. I sure didn't like the new little reporter they used. Flashback, Glenn, at home. Son of a bitch. We started to leave the house, and a report begins on Jennifer's computer about Sergeant Blaine in Russia. I'd sure like to stop and listen to it, but instead I will wait for the transcripts. I've got to say, the reporter is as cute as a bug. Flashback, Todd, on the island. I grabbed the little Oriental woman when she came close enough, and the next thing I knew was... Flashback, Alexei at home. I continued to work on the cryptex without success. I looked at the clock and realized I should have been in bed an hour ago. My parents would chastise me tomorrow for staying up too late. I looked at the crossed-off list and realized at the rate I was trying 5-letter words I might not ever open the cryptex. I sadly took it to bed with me in hopes if I slept on the matter, my dreams might produce the solution. Flashback, Ira, Mira, and Naomi, in Israel. Naomi and Irina left to acquire a liter of vodka for the behemoth man's alimentary alcohol lavage, and I could not believe what he requested. He entreated, "Since you work for me, I was wondering if you would give me a massage with the oils like Naomi performs." I stated unequivocally, "That will never happen." He brayed a whine, "But I thought you worked for me." I informed him of his error. "Sir, we are not in your employment. We are using your domicile as a temporary respite." He offered, "I would pay you substantially if you would do this for me." I informed him, all the gold in the Knox fort and all the Camellia sinensis in China could not persuade me to perform such an act. He laughed. It was gross because his behemoth mass shook like a bowl full of jelly, and stated, "Do not you know there is very little gold in Fort Knox anymore?" Thank heavens Naomi and Irina then returned. Irina oculated my facial disgust and questioned, "Miranda, what is the problem?" I replied, "The behemoth man would like a massage with oils and assumed we were employed by him and I would perform this action." Naomi offered, "I would love to give my master an oil massage." I countered, "Naomi, thank you for the offer. However, it is imperative we perform the alimentary alcohol lavage haste of post to prevent any greater infection and possibly the need for alimentary surgery." The behemoth man brayed, "Surgery? I don't want any surgery down there." "Yes, please give me the alcohol enema immediately." Ira oculated the behemoth man's overly relaxed and behemoth rectum and questioned, "How will we prevent his alimentary canal from violently expelling the alcohol?" The thought of that circumstance sickened me. Then Naomi stated, "I have a device which should work." She left the room, and the behemoth man continued his obnoxious braying. "You know, I have never had sex with twins." Ira slapped his behemoth derriere, which once again shook like a bowl full of jelly, and threatened, "One more statement like that, and I will remove your training implement." He brayed, "Ouch, that hurt. Please do that again." Naomi returned and handed us a device. I questioned its utility. "Of what use is this?" She stated, and simultaneously blushed, "It is an alimentary canal plug." My greatest desire was to end this ordeal, so I quickly readied the lavage device, inserted the tube into his rectum, and let the vodka freely flow. The procedure occurred without incident until Ira reminded me, "Mira, you do realize he will absorb alcohol into his bloodstream." I gasped, "That means he will become inebriated." Ira refined my description, "Extremely inebriated from the quantity of vodka up his alimentary canal." Naomi fearfully questioned, "Don't tell me he will become drunk?" I confirmed, "Yes, unfortunately that is true." Naomi cried, "I do not like my master when he becomes drunk. That is why I limit his wine and champagne." We soon discovered why Naomi disliked it when her behemoth boss became inebriated. Flashback, Jack, at the restaurant. I was finishing my great meal at the restaurant while I enjoyed watching my woman and Tatiana chatting up a storm, in Russian. I decided I was one lucky son of a bitch to have a woman like Masha love me. There was a low rumble, and the ground shook like an earthquake, which snapped me out of my contemplation. I remembered something and swore, "Son of a bitch." The women both looked at me, and I said, "We left Ben alone again in the hospital without guards." I jumped up from the table followed by the two women, dropped a wad of dollars on the table, and we hightailed it toward the hospital. When we got there, the Spetsnaz were there, and all hell was breaking loose. I saw Yuri, walked up to him, followed by my female entourage, and questioned, "What the hell happened?" He replied, "Just look down the street, and you tell me." I looked, and there was a massive crater in the street. The buildings that surrounded the crater were decimated. It was obviously the result of another car bomb, but at least this one didn't reach the hospital. Yuri added, "The car bomb exploded before reaching the hospital. However, we have a larger problem. Sergeant Blaine is missing." I yelled, "What the hell? How could he be missing?" I recognized when Tatiana swore in Russian and reminded myself to ask Masha what it meant. Where in Hades is he?" Yuri answered, "We are currently sweeping the hospital, but it appears he's no longer there." Flashback, Todd, on the island. I woke up with a hell of a headache after that waif of a Japanese woman knocked me out. Hell, I wasn't even sure what she used or how she did it, because it was so damn fast. I sat up and noticed this time my hands were also restrained and the 4 coconut and bag were gone. I touched my throat, and something felt different this time. When I tried to talk, an unintelligible noise came out, and while it hurt, it wasn't as acute as before. I noticed some movement in the cave and couldn't believe what I saw. I needed to get the hell out of here, but with my restraints there would be no hope of doing that. Present, Jack, at the cabin. I, along with 3 Marines I acquired from Glenn, are ripping into the ventilation system in hopes that we can use it to get into the tunnels and rescue everyone, especially Vanya. Jennifer's dog is raising hell and trying to help. He's biting the hell out of the metal and digging at it with his paws like crazy. This gives me hope that my plan might actually work. I hear a hell of a lot of gunfire from the Marines I stationed on the perimeter, take a second, and observe a big as hell truck headed our way. I order, "Screw this shit. We need to stop the truck." We grab our weapons, which are always close at hand because we're Marines, and begin to fire at the truck. Then Jennifer's dog does something crazy. I wonder if he inherited his craziness from her. Present, Glenn, at the cabin. There's a hell of an explosion which knocks me on my butt, but it's too large to be a suicide bomber. I scramble back to my feet and can't believe what I see. Present, Mira and Alexei, at the cabin. There is a devastating explosion which levitates my corporeal self into an airborne status. As I transverse through the air, I order Alexei, "Remember to tuck and roll." There's a large explosion which tosses Mira and myself into the air as if we are dolls. Mira has the foresight to remind me to tuck and roll, which I have not forgotten. The ground approaches, I tuck and roll as ordered, come up on my feet, and turn to see what has exploded. I cannot believe it. One of the tents is totally missing and 2 others have been knocked to the ground. However, my attention is again drawn to the continued battle with the charlatan Marines. Present, Glenn, at the cabin. I survey the AO, area of operations, and son of a bitch, the armory tent is gone and the 2 tents next to it are flattened. This bullshit with the bogus Marines has become too much, so I order as loudly as I can. Form up on the twins and their brother. Kill with extreme prejudice anyone they fire at. My men begin to follow my orders while I turn and say to the 4 Marines with me, "You 4 are tasked with starting a rescue operation for the 2 flattened tents." I sadly note that one of the tents was the mess tent. Present, Linus, SIFT semi. There's a huge explosion which rocks the SIFT semi, so the commander orders, "That's enough of this bullshit. We're getting out of here before we're the next target." The team begins to pack up before I have a chance to pull the tunnel drawings, so I request, Jennifer and others are trapped in the tunnels, and I need the schematics. The commander promises, "We will try to pull them en route and send them to your email account." I exit the trailer just as the semi begins to move, and I land right in the middle of a huge battle. I notice that everyone is forming up on one of the twins, and they shoot the hell out of anyone targeted by the twins. Then I realize the explosion was the armory tent. Damn it, the mess tent and command tent are also down. Can you say bad planning and having them both too close to the armory tent? I see a few Marines trying to rescue the survivors and decide I will be better used helping them. I run my butt off toward the mess tent. Present, Todd, at the cabin. I'm thankful we're lying down as there's a huge explosion which could have hurt us if we were standing. I push to get Ira off me, and surprisingly, she falls right off of me and to the ground. I quickly realize she's unconscious. I kneel over her and perform a quick physical assessment. I turn her over, onto her stomach, and can't believe what the hell happened. I take off my backpack and quickly begin to work while trying to ignore the battle raging around us. Present, Glenn, at the cabin. The tide of the battle has finally turned, and there are fewer bogus Marines. Hammer runs up and I question, "Where the hell have you been?" He states, "I have been patrolling the perimeter and killing fake Marines." I have been patrolling the perimeter and killing fake Marines. I question, "Can you tell the difference?" Hammer laughs. "Helock I can. It's as doddle as telling the difference between a Sassenach and an Irish git." Hell yes I can. It's as easy as telling the difference between a Brit and an Irish scumsucker. I notice he's been wounded and order, "You need to get to the medical plane." Hammer states, "I can't day at, the plane left hour and hour ago." I can't do that. The plane left over an hour ago. I look at the field and realize I didn't even notice. I decide I've gotten old since this isn't something I would have missed when I was younger. I take a minute to assess the battlefield and realize we're going to need medical support yesterday. Then Hammer wisely suggests, "Glenn, ya would do a better job leading our troops if ya were any fighting ym. Glenn, you would do a better job leading your troops if you weren't fighting with them." Damn, he's right, and it makes me feel even older. Because this concerned Jennifer, I let my emotions control my actions, and instead of being the commander, I had become just one more grunt. I look at Hammer and my men and order, "I'm going to the top of the hill to assess the battlefield. Hammer, lead this squad." I find a secure location on the top of the hill, where I can finally see the whole AO and realize I need to make some phone calls. I hope like hell I haven't used up all my favors because these calls are going to cost me. Present, Zarika, in the medical plane. Yasmin asks, "Zarika, when will we fly back to the cabin?" I reply, "I do not know. I will find the nice doctor and ask him." I wander through the flying hospital plane when a nurse catches me and states, "You need to sit back down because we are going to land soon." I find my way back to Yasmin and tell her, "We are landing soon." The landing is very smooth, much smoother than the takeoff. I am surprised when I see Yasmin's shithead lady and another man. The lady says, "Once again, I am Ms. Horning of Child Protective Services, and I am here to take both of you into custody." The nice doctor comes up and complains, "Not you again. I thought I told you my patients cannot be moved." The man, who looks very sick, pulls out a large wallet and says, "I am Special Agent Hotchner of the FBI, and we are here to take custody of these two girls. If you would like to resist us, then I have a team ready to examine every inch of this aircraft." The nice doctor states, "I refuse to sign their releases, so anything that happens to them is on your heads." Some other men come in. The nasty Ms. Horning grabs my arm, and the men roll Yasmin's bed out of the plane. Yasmin complains, "You all are shithead idiots, and if I wasn't shot, I would kick all your butts." I lean over and whisper, "Yasmin, the best thing for us is to not say anything." For once, Yasmin listens to me as we are escorted off the plane and into a waiting ambulance. Present, Ben, on the road. Just as I hoped when the semis bypassed the highway patrol roadblock, the lead one rolls up beside me. The driver pushes open the passenger door and orders, "Hop the hell in here, and let's get the hell out of here." I latch onto the entry assist bar and swing up into the still-moving semi. The driver floors it, jockeys the wheel, so we bypass the roadblock again, and we head off into New Mexico. I notice the lead car in front and realize they are using the strategy one came up with. But I still need to ask about a trailing car. I offer my gratitude, "Thanks for the ride." He replies, "Hell, it's us that should be thanking you. By the way, my name's Fearless Freep." Because of his name, weather-worn face, and easygoing countenance, I immediately like him. I laugh and chide. "Well, if you're Fearless Freep, then Yosemite Sam must be around somewhere." I hear a yawn, then a voice from the sleeper cab behind us. "Did someone call?" My hand instinctively flies to my sidearm, but Fearless Freep advises, "Now don't go getting all excited. It's just my old lady. Honey, come up here and meet the famous trucker's angel." I hear some rustling around, and one of the most incredible-looking ginger-haired women slides up between the seats. An old lady, hell, she can't be more than late 20s. She holds out her hand and states, "Damn, now this is an honor having the trucker's angel riding with us." I shake her hand and reply, "The honor is all mine to ride with one of the hootinest, tootinest, shootinest bobtail wildcats in the West." Fearless Freep laughs, "Hell, honey, I think we have another Looney Tunes aficionado in our midst." Yosemite Sam agrees, "I think you're right, honey." I comment, "Hell, I damn near wore out the TV set when I was a kid watching Looney Tunes. It's still about the only thing I ever watch. But it's a shame what they've done to them." Yosemite Sam adds, "You're right about that. They cut out all the good parts." I expound, "Hell yeah, like when they drop an anvil on someone's head and show some of the perceived racial parts. They can have violent as hell movies on TV, but then they ruin classic cartoons to be politically correct. It adds insult to injury. That makes about as much sense as..." Yosemite Sam interrupts, "About as much sense as the politics in this country today." I nod my head and swear, "Yeah, isn't that a fact? We need to fire them all and start over again." Fearless Freep has been eyeing me and asks, "Well, Trucker's Angel, why don't you go ahead and ask?" I attempt to lie, ask what? Yosemite Sam laughs. Hell, you wouldn't be the first, and probably not the last to ask what I'm doing hanging out with Fearless Freep. Fearless Freep adds, yeah, seeing as she's young enough to be my daughter. She kisses him on the cheek with honest affection and says, well, it's sort of like this way. I grew up in Southern California close to the park that bears my name and was, like, well, a free spirit. So I hit the road as soon as I was, like, old enough to see what used to be this fine country of ours before the current politicians, like, screwed it. Being naive. Fearless Freep laughs and teases, you naive? Now that's a joke. Yosemite Sam continues, well, somehow I ended up with the wrong group of guys. Fearless Freep elaborates, hell baby, tell it like it was. They were going to sell you into sex slavery in Mexico. Yosemite Sam continues, that's not important. What is important is my love. Fearless Freep fearlessly freed me. That's how he got his name. I nod my head, notice a twinkle in her eyes and ask, isn't there something more you're not telling me? She laughs, yeah, I was wondering how much you wanted to know. He also has the largest schlong I've ever seen. And believe me, size does matter. I comment, well, that's certainly too much information for me. They both laugh and Fearless Freep says, yeah, that's her favorite part. We all laugh at the double entendre, then I decide to get serious. I'm not sure if you heard, but it looks like the hijackers have changed tactics, at least in Texas. They now try to pick off the last truck in a convoy. So you might want to have a trailing vehicle behind the convoy. Fearless states, well, this is new news to us. He gets on the CB and starts to relay the message to all the other truckers. Yosemite Sam questions, so what's this we hear that you aren't allowed to have carnal relationships with women? I affirm, that's right, I was told if I was going to be your trucker's angel, I couldn't have carnal relationships with any woman. She then provides me some information that I wish she hadn't. Present, Samantha and Stacy, on the road. I can't believe I have a stupid stick for a rifle instead of a real rifle. I was accidentally pointing my real rifle at the team member when they replaced it with this stupid stick. Is it really that big of a deal? This is embarrassing, and worse than that, it's captured on video, and I have a feeling, especially after what Stacy said about Ben supposedly pulling down her panties and spanking her, that this is going to be my interview tonight. We run a little further than it happens. I accidentally point my stupid stick rifle at one of the team members. Stacy yells, hold up. We stop. She comes over in front of me and demands, Sam, why did we stop? I weakly attempt to lie, because you're tired? Stacy states, don't you lie to me. You know you covered another man with your stick rifle. I shrug my shoulders, so it's just a stick? Stacy gets in my face, holds up her rifle and recites, as the other men join her. Like hell it is. This is my rifle. There are many like it, but this one is mine. My rifle is my best friend. It is my life. I must master it as I must master my life. My rifle, without me, is useless. Without my rifle, I am useless. I must fire my rifle true. I must shoot straighter than my enemy who is trying to kill me. I must shoot him before he shoots me. I will. My rifle and myself know that what counts in this war is not the rounds we fire, the noise of our burst, nor the smoke we make. We know that it is the hits that count. We will hit. My rifle is human, even as I, because it is my life. Thus, I will learn it as a brother. I will learn its weaknesses, its strength, its parts, its accessories, its sights, and its barrel. I will ever guard it against the ravages of weather and damage as I will ever guard my legs, my arms, my eyes, and my heart against damage. I will keep my rifle clean and ready. We will become part of each other. We will. Before God, I swear this creed. My rifle and myself are the defenders of my country. We are the masters of our enemy. We are the saviors of my life. So be it, until victory is America's and there is no enemy, but peace. She looks at the team member I accidentally pointed my stick at and orders, she covered you, so you do the honors. Samantha doesn't get it, but then at first I didn't either. However, it's serious that she covered a team member with her stick rifle, and she needs the punishment that comes with the offense. I watch as the team member takes her stick and orders, get over my knee. Samantha counters, like hell I will. I intervene. Sam, you can either take your punishment like a woman or leave like a little girl. It's your choice. Choice my butt. Stacy is being a major pain in the butt about this. I confront her. You wouldn't send me away. Stacy looks at Bill and orders, Bill, unless Samantha complies with the punishment for covering the team member with her stick rifle, she's to be left right here. Make sure we leave her some food and water and notify the network where she is. Stacy glares at me and reiterates, well, are you taking your punishment or are you staying here? I boldly state, I will take my punishment, but I want you to be the one that spanks me. Stacy says, okay, hand me her stick rifle. Samantha, over my knee. I get over her knee and son of a bitch. That hurts like hell. Samantha doesn't realize it, but a spanking from me is going to be much worse than a spanking from one of the male team members. They would have held back because she is a woman and because they knew I would get pissed off if she was seriously hurt. I have none of those limits, so I wail on her as she squirms around on my lap and screams. I gave her 5 good hits, then let her up. She jumps off my lap, rubs her butt, and complains, "Stacy, that hurt like hell. I thought you were my friend." I explained to her, "I am your friend. That's why it hurts so much. But the pain of the spanking I gave you is less than the pain of being shot, or even worse, the pain of leaving a family fatherless from your negligent actions." Now you think on this as we run 1 more mile. I watch as Samantha is much more careful with her stick rifle this time, just like I was after the first time Ben spanked me. Present, Byron, Inga, and Tom. It's raining hell on the narcotic lord. Tom improvised a cannon out of the old as hell mortar he liked to carry, which for once came in useful, and sent the narcotic lord's men running, and as they ran, well, they were in such a hurry they forgot about the traps, and I watched through the scope on Betsy as they triggered multiple traps. I calmed the team. "Hey guys, you aren't going to believe this, but the narcotic lord's men are setting off their own traps." Byron's announcement was music to my ears. I get our 2 team members out of the pit trap, thank God it wasn't a punji pit, and ask, "Okay guys, do we continue or do we turn back?" Tom lights up the area again and says, "Hell, I say we go on." Then Byron advises, "Hold up guys, we have a new issue." I think, great, what else could go wrong? Flashback, Ben, at the hospital, earlier. I was pissed about the new car bomb. We were lucky as hell it exploded prematurely and didn't destroy more of the hospital. I decided to once again take the fight to the cowardly Chechens. I began to get ready when Elena demanded, "Ben, what do you think you are doing?" I replied, "I'm fed up with the Chechen scumsuckers blowing this town to hell, and I'm going to go back out and kick their butts again." She got a funny look on her face, paused for a few moments, then she suggested, "Ben, if you do that, you will be playing right into their hands." I might have a better idea. I scoffed, "I doubt that. My plan is that the scumsuckers need to die a slow and lingering death." Elena stated, "That is an obvious fact. However, if you attempt to fight them right now and die, then it creates 2 problems. First, who will kill them if not you? And second, once you are gone, they will lay waste to this whole village in retribution." I thought for a moment, fully considered her objection, and damn it, she was right. I then asked, "Okay, what's this better plan of yours?" She smiled and detailed her plan. "The problem is the Chechens know where you are. So, if we hide you from them, then they will be occupied hunting for you and not trying to destroy the hospital." I thought about it, liked the hell out of the idea, but questioned, "Okay, if I agree to this plan, how do you get me out of the hospital without being seen, and then how do we tell the Chechens I'm no longer in the hospital?" She grinned. "That is my contribution to the solution. Now you wait right here, and please do not do something stupid. I will return in less than 5 minutes." I decided this time I would trust her, and true to her word, she came back into the room right on time. But I couldn't believe what she brought with her. I began to complain. Flashback, Jack, at the hospital. The Spetsnaz squad gathered. We joined them, and they reported, "Sergeant Blaine is still missing." The Spetsnaz captain complained, "Where the hell did he go? My superiors will have my head if we do not find him." "Sergeant Reynolds, do you have any idea where he might have gone?" I thought for a minute, then I suggested, "You don't suppose that his new personal nurse has anything to do with this?" I was shocked when Tatiana boldly exclaimed, "If she did something to him, I will kill her, and then kick his butt." The captain looked at Tatiana and questioned, "I thought you were Sergeant Blaine's personal nurse." I stated, and later realized, stated unwisely. She was until Ben fired her. Flashback, Masha, at the hospital. Sometimes my husband-to-be. Well, he said the wrong thing or said it the wrong way, a typical problem with men. When he reminded Tatiana that Ben fired her, it was not a prudent thing to do, and Tatiana naturally reacted explosively. Firing me and hiring that lesbian reporter and supposed nurse were 2 of the biggest and possibly the last mistakes Ben ever made. Before I could stop him, Jack countered, with typical male inattention to wisdom, with a chuckle and obvious sarcasm, like a little woman your size could do anything to him. Hell, he's kicked the shit out of our whole Spetsnaz squad. I grabbed Tatiana's arm and steered her out of the room and away from my Jack before I had to protect him from her. She swore as we left. "Shut up and screw you. Dumb shit." Flashback, Jack, at the hospital. Damn, I'm not sure what pissed off Tatiana, but as Masha guided her away from me, she yelled something in Russian that had the Spetsnaz laughing like crazy. I asked, "Yuri, what did she say?" Yuri still chuckled and answered, "She told you to shut up and screw you, and then called you a dumb shit." I shook my head and questioned, what the hell pissed her off? The captain stated what I now realized was obvious. "Sergeant Reynolds, you did. You should know better than to mention to any Russian woman about getting fired. They take it very personally." I defended myself. "What the hell? I was just answering your question." Yuri pulled me to the side and tried to explain. Flashback, Masha, at the hospital. I pulled Tatiana to the side and ordered, "Tatiana, control your emotions." She yanked her arm away from me and countered, "Like hell I will. Your boyfriend insulted me, and I am going to kick his butt." I decided sterner words were needed, so I swore, "Shut up." Then I slapped her and reminded her, just which one of us is the agent in charge. Flashback, Tatiana, at the hospital. I looked down at the ground and replied, "You are in charge, Masha, and I am sorry. But, but, but I am frustrated that Ben won't let me be both his nurse and his girlfriend like before. And now he's missing, and I feel it's my fault. I bet that little reporter, bitch, took him somewhere." Masha smiled and strangely advised, "Then you should thank her profusely." I complained, "Like hell I will. I will kick her butt and then make him dread the day he was birthed." Masha clucked like a mother hen and continued, "Tatiana, what happened the last time Ben felt like the town was under continual danger from the scumsucker?" I replied, "He made himself a target." I stopped when suddenly it made sense to me. If Ben wasn't here, then the hospital wasn't a target. And if the hospital wasn't a target, then Ben wouldn't do something crazy again. I looked at Masha and began to cry. Flashback, Masha, at the hospital. Tatiana had been properly chastised for her outburst, and she finally realized that if Ben was moved it was for the best. She began to cry and hugged me. Jack walked over and I worried he might again say something to upset her, but instead he surprised me when he said, "Tatiana, I want to apologize to you for the things I said. I didn't mean that you weren't an excellent nurse. I really was just answering the captain's question." I smiled at him and suggested, "Why don't you see if the Spetsnaz can find out in which hotel Ben's new personal nurse is staying? Because if you find her, you will most likely find Ben." One of the Spetsnaz ran outside and exclaimed, "You will not believe what is on the television." We all rush inside the hospital and... Flashback, Yents, at the military hospital. This was embarrassing as heck. Rats. It was even more embarrassing than the firemen seeing me without clothes. They had me in a bath of water, and it seemed like 100 people gathered around as they slowly pulled away the rest clothes that had stuck to my skin. It hurt like heck, and some tears rolled down my face. Daddy asked, "Jennifer, does it hurt much?" I made a lame attempt to act like a Marine and lied, "It's not that bad, Daddy. I'm just embarrassed." Then the nurse snitched on me. "Sir, your daughter is trying to be brave. She is experiencing great pain right now. Because burns, even ones as minor as these, are some of the most excruciating pain you can experience." Daddy questioned, "Well, can't you give her something for the pain?" The doctor informed us, "Sir, until we do a very thorough assessment of the extent of her burns and ascertain that she hasn't injured her lungs, which could cause breathing difficulties, we do not want to administer an analgesic, which might further depress her breathing capability." Daddy instantly became upset and made me blush. "Listen, you pencil tool, pencil pushing moron. There's no way my daughter was exposed to anything which would cause her breathing difficulties. She accidentally picked up some hot clothes to cover herself with. So give her something for pain immediately, or I will send your sorry to Thule." As Daddy liked to say, that light a fire under the doctor's rear. He quickly ordered the nurse to give me an injection. The nurse said as she provided the relief, "This is morphine. In about 15 minutes you should feel fine." The doctor added, "We're not going to do anything more until the morphine begins to work." Most of the people left. The morphine began to work. I was relaxed and felt quite good, and then she walked into my room. Flashback, Alexei, at home some time later. The solution to the cryptex evaded me. I looked at the word list on the computer and realized it was going to take me a very long time to solve. I tried to access my files on the computer, however they were now password protected. I searched in the typical places that passwords were hidden, but didn't locate the file password. The change in the status of my files occupied my mind as I whirled the disks on the cryptex. Then I realized something. My assumption of a word being needed to solve the cryptex was not valid. Yes, my parents never told me it was a word which meant it could be any representation of letters. This greatly depressed me because it added greatly to the number of possible solutions. I heard a noise, turned and noticed a slight movement behind the curtain which covered the wall. I was being observed. If this was the case, then this cryptex was more than just a puzzle for me to solve. Now I understood. It was another test. I calmly set the cryptex back into its box and carried it to my room with me. As I drifted off to sleep, I had an excellent idea. Yes, it was time for me to. Flashback, Ira, Mira, and Naomi. In Israel, Mira inadvertently inebriated the behemoth man, and we realized why Naomi restricted his alcoholic consumption as the behemoth man stood up from the bed and boldly brayed. I think it is time for a three-way encounter with Naomi and my new twin employees. Take your damn clothes off, bitches, and prepare yourselves for my manhood. Mira counter-informed the braying behemoth, "Sir, once again I will elucidate that we are not your employees." He counterbrayed, "Like hell you aren't." You are in my house, and I own the two of you sassy little bitches. Now strip for me, or I will spank your butts until they are beet red. After his threat, I decided a more direct approach was required. After the behemoth man unwisely threatened and insulted us several times, my sister Ira decided to directly rectify the situation. She acquired a vase from the table adjacent to the bed and forcefully applied it to the behemoth man's cranial carapace. The application of force incapacitated the behemoth man's corporeal self. Naomi now brayed. What the hell did you do that for? I should kick your butt. Now it was my turn to perform an act of direct assistance. In words of other, I kicked Naomi's butt, which rendered her corporeal self additionally incapacitated. Irinka declared, perhaps Safia's original assessment of the formerly behemoth man, and now once again your Stay Puffed man, was more accurate than previous perceptions indicated. I complained at the perception of ownership. Irinka, he is now and has always been your Stay Puffed man. Then I oculated Irinka's katana and proposed a creative and bold suggestion. Flashback, Todd, on the island, in the cave. Yeah, I was totally restrained and thoroughly screwed. The largest damn Komodo dragon I had ever seen, it was easily 12 feet long, entered the cave. I froze knowing its night vision was limited but was screwed when it began to sample the air with its tongue. Yeah, just like a snake. They had an excellent sense of smell, and I was sure it would detect me because of my still seeping neck wound. I considered distracting it by throwing a rock in a different area of the cave, but then remembered that they had almost non-existent hearing. I decided instead to hit it with the rock. Unfortunately, my first rock missed its head and bounced off its body, which only pissed it off. It hissed, snapped at the rock, and lumbered toward me. My second rock was better as it nailed it on the nose. The overgrown lizard shook its head, but then continued sampling the air and again headed toward me. I frantically looked for a weapon and decided that an available sharp rock was about my best choice. I kept my selected defensive weapon but kept raining rocks on the lizard as it continued toward me. It stopped just out of reach of my rock weapon, sampled the air, raised up on its hind legs to attack, and then, present, Jack, at the cabin. We are under attack from what has to be a truck bomb. We begin to shoot the shit out of the truck when Jennifer's crazy dog runs toward the truck. In a panic I order, make sure you don't shoot Jennifer's dog. The furry scumsucker jumps up on the hood of the truck and begins to bite the hell out of the windshield wipers, which the driver turned on to distract the dog. Then the damn dog continues the attack and somehow works his way into the cab of the truck. If this wasn't so damn serious, it would be funny. The dog must be ripping the driver a new a-hole. But all I know is the truck is swerving like crazy, and the next thing we know the truck rolls over onto the roof and spills a hell of a load of barrels which break open. I can only assume they contain what looks to be fertilizer and diesel fuel, which quickly spill out. I continue my orders. Make sure you don't set off the diesel fuel. And I know, thanks to Jennifer's dog, we were spared from a hell of a battle and possibly death. But what about Sharik? Then a flash of red flies into the AO, and I can't believe it as a fox starts dragging Jennifer's crazy dog out of the cab of the destroyed truck. Masha sees it, takes off running towards the truck as I yell, "Where the hell are you going?" Present, Glenn, at the cabin. The false marine scumsuckers destroyed the armory tent, which also took down the mess tent and the command tent. As Hammer comes up, I notice he's wounded, and then realize the medical plane is gone. I see that Sif's semi-leave and realize that we need some help. Like yesterday? I pull out my cell phone, start making some calls, and I'm shocked. Present, Mira and Alexei, at the cabin. I formicate in intense pain in my back and order, "Alexei, we must find our sister as she has been gravely injured." He surprises me when he states, "Yes, my sister." I also share a sense of formication, however not as great as yours. Notate sister. There is Todd, and he appears to be effecting a repair on someone. I acquire his extended digit and affirm, "Yes, my amazing brother, he is tending to our injured sister." Then I oculate something which exceedingly angers me. Present, Todd, at the cabin. I rolled Ira over after she shielded me from Lord knows how many rounds and the explosion. I'm shocked when she has. Yes, I'm sure it's the same one. It's Mabel's big metal spoon, the same one I shot out of her hands with an arrow, embedded in her back. I guess body armor, even the best, can only protect from some weapons. The handle end is embedded far too deeply into her back, and I'm sure it struck some vital organs. I try my best to ignore the battle raging around me as I save Ira's life, but it's hard as hell to ignore the bullets. Present, Alexei and Mira, at the cabin. I can sense the waves of anger emanating from my sister Mira and realize that Todd is being wounded as he attempts to save my other sister Ira. Something shatters inside me, and I can now easily recognize the charlatan Marines. I drop to the ground and begin to rapidly eliminate them. I am gassed to flabber. Alexei falls to the ground, and at first I am concerned he has been wounded. Then I hear the report from his rifle, and he is eliminating the charlatan Marines more quickly than I can aim and fire. This exceeds his present training level and amazes me. Present, Glenn, at the cabin. After I'm amazed at the support I've been offered, I unconsciously drop the phone to my side and let it fall out of my hand. The twins' brother is firing at what I can only assume and hope are the fake Marines in rapid succession. They are falling like flies. I snap out of my daze, grab my loudspeaker, and begin to announce. Present, Linus, rescuing the survivors. I'm working my butt off trying to get injured Marines out of the mess tent, which is a disaster. If I never have to deal with a collapsed mess tent again, it will be great with me. Hell, you have all the making of a premium disaster movie. Large pots of hot foods, open flames, propane cylinders. Yeah, I know they're kept outside, but that didn't work too well in this case since they were blown right into the mess. Hell, I had 3 guys that were making sure the valves on the tanks were turned off so they weren't spewing propane into this gruesome mess. Then the poor scum suckers that were in line and were covered in scalding hot food. It was hard to tell what was skin and what was meat. My mind was on Maria. I silently prayed and bargained with God to spare her in the tunnels while I searched like hell for Mabel. I was terrified at what I might find. Then we all paused as Glenn announced over a loudspeaker. Present, Glenn, at the cabin. I announced, you might want to stop fighting and take a moment to hear what is going to happen. We have a company of Army Special Forces headed here from Fort Carson as I speak. There will be boots on the ground in under 1 hour with the rest of their support rolling in here over the next few days. At that time, their commander will declare martial law for this area. All troops still here will need to surrender all their weapons, including vehicles, and they will ascertain if you are or were U.S. military. If you refuse to submit, you will be an enemy combatant and you will be shot. Now, you can continue fighting if you want. However, those of you that do not wish to face full military scrutiny might want to leave. I waited and watched to see what would transpire. Present, Zarika and Yasmin, held hostage. The ambulance stops in front of an impressive-looking hospital. As the doors open and I start to step out, the stern Ms. Horning quickly stops me. Oh no, not you. This is where Yasmin is going. We're taking you to a halfway house. I protest, but Ms. Horning. She corrects me sharply. That's Ms. Horning. I persist. Yasmin and I need to stay together. Yasmin chimes in. Yes, Ms. Horning, we have to stay together. The evil lady declares, making fun of my name is not a good way to make me your friend. You two are being separated so we can get the truth out of one of you about what is really going on. The one who tells the truth first will get a big reward. I look Yasmin in the eyes, and I can tell that neither one of us will tell this bad lady anything. I kiss Yasmin's hand as they take her out of the ambulance, then laugh when she swears, in Farsi, put a hippo's tool in your butt. I cannot believe they think that separating us will get them any information. I will never tell the shithead lady or anyone else any information. I make sure that Zarika knows this as they separate us. They take me into a very nice room with flowers, and I am shocked when the nurse from the medical airplane comes into the room. She smiles and states, now isn't this a nice room I've arranged for you? I mutter in Farsi, Kiram tu bachijiat. Screw your childhood. I am shocked when she answers in Farsi, Kaif show. Shut up. I decide I can have some more fun, so I continue the insults. Ms. Hornyhead continues as we drive away. Yes, Jasmine is going to a very comfortable hospital room, while you're headed to a place where many girls come to regret the day they were born. And whatever she said to me that made you laugh, it must not have been very nice. I respond calmly, Ms. 304 head. I've been through and seen more in my 15 years than you could ever imagine. If you had lived even half of my life, you'd still be having nightmares. There's nothing you can do to me that will be worse than what Ben saved me from. Neither Yasmin nor I will ever tell you anything. Oh, and if you're wondering, Yasmin told you to shove a hippo's foot where the sun doesn't shine. I happen to agree with her. She drops me off at a grim-looking building, where an equally unpleasant man takes me inside. He looks me over and says, first, we need to conduct a full search before processing you. However, I give them a huge surprise when they try that. Present, Ben, on the road. Yosemite Sam and I are having a great conversation when she says, it's a shame to see what's going on at your cabin. I shrug and reply, like I said before, I don't watch TV, so I have no idea what you're talking about. Fearless Freep shakes his head. Damn, they've been under attack for weeks now. I can't wrap my head around it. What the hell? Who's after them? Fearless Freep responds, it's not who you might think. At least, I don't think so. It's a private army working for some Colombian narcotic lord. He's done everything he can to take them down. They even burned the cabin trying to stop him. Honey, turn on the TV and see if there's a report. Yosemite Sam turns on the TV, tunes into the Truth Network, and I can't believe what I'm seeing. The place, once beautiful, now looks like a war zone. At first, it seems like friendly fire, but then I notice Mira and a younger boy taking out select troops. That's when I realize they're targeting imposters dressed as Marines. The news anchor comes on. We apologize for the pre-recorded report, but we've lost contact with station owner and reporter Liz Morgan, who was on the scene. There are unconfirmed reports that she, Jennifer Donaldson, and others may be trapped in tunnels beneath the cabin. The latest update is that the Army is deploying a Special Forces unit and preparing to declare martial law in the area. I look at Fearless Freep and plead, "How fast can we get to Leadville, Colorado?" He laughs, "Hell, damn fast, because we aren't following any of the rules of the road. However, we have to make a quick stop in Albuquerque first." I begin to complain when Yosemite Sam explains, "Trucker's Angel, there is a person waiting for you there who it is your destiny to meet." I complain, "I don't the hell know any Destiny I need to meet." She laughs, "How did you know her name was Destiny, and that she is an Indian shaman who's been waiting for your arrival?" I finally take a close look at the interior of the truck and see the signs I'd missed before. The mini dream catchers, the bone whistle, the Indian love flute, the medicine bags they both wore around their necks, and the real tribal tattoos. I question, a female shaman? That's about as rare as rocking horse shit. Yosemite Sam informs me, that's not an accurate belief. Many of the first shamans were women because they were more in touch with the spiritual world. I then ask, well, I sure the hell don't know what a shaman would want with me. Fearless Freep answers, "Hell, we don't know either, but she did say you would want to bypass Albuquerque when you received the news about the cabin and ordered us not bypass Albuquerque without picking her up. And I'm sure not going to go against her orders." I could see some fear in his eyes. Then a fresh news reports came on that made me laugh my butt off. Present, Samantha and Stacy, on the road. I can't believe it. I thought these news reports were going to be mine, but I forgot and gave Stacy total content control over the reports, and now I wonder if it was a mistake. The report opens with me over Stacy's knee and her spanking the hell out of me with the stick rifle. Then it switches to me and she has me read, "Good evening, America. That shocking start to my interview tonight was not staged. Today was my first day of what Stacy Summers calls Ben's boot camp, and the spanking I received was directly my fault for continuing to accidentally aim my rifle at members of my team." The video cuts to Stacy instructing me on all the rifle-ready positions, then the first time I covered a team member with my rifle, and how Stacy got in my face and the punishment for it. Then it showed me covering another team member and me losing my real rifle. I couldn't believe how embarrassed I would feel about that. And finally, the last time I covered the team member and my choice to have Stacy spank me. Finally, I get to do my real job. Stacy and I are sitting across from each other, and I get to question her. "Stacy, I was a bit shocked and embarrassed about today." Stacy smiled at the camera and stated, "Samantha, my friend, don't be. I had the same problems on my first day of boot camp with Ben." I continue, "So you accidentally pointed your rifle at someone?" Stacy laughs, "Not just someone, it was Ben. And let me tell you, he was even more serious about controlling your rifle than I was today. I didn't have the luxury you did of being able to stop the running with the rifle over my head. And when Ben finally had his fill of things, he pulled down my pants, and the spanking he gave me was a constant reminder for days afterwards." Ben said, "You never point your rifle at something you don't plan to shoot, especially don't do it accidentally. Remember, there are no accidental shootings. If you shoot someone, then you either meant it or were negligent." I ask, "So did you do better the next days?" Stacy says, "Yes, I did, however." She paused, bit her lower lips, and stated, "I confess, there were times I did it just to get Ben's attention, so he would pull down my pants and spank me again." Present, Ben, on the road. I swear, what the hell is Stacy talking about? That never happened. Yosemite Sam clucks, "It sounds like more went on between you and her than you admitted." Fearless Freep adds, "Hey honey, perhaps you'd like a little spanking tonight." I continue to rant. I need to get on the TV and countermand what that conniving little bitch said. Yosemite asks, "Well, did you pull down her pants and spank her?" I think back and answer, "Hell yes, I did." Yosemite Sam continues, "More than once?" I answer, "Hell yes." She kept covering me with her rifle. Then I realized that I had been duped by Stacy. She really did accidentally let it happen just so I would spank her. That sneaky little bitch. I begin to laugh and Yosemite Sam asks, "So then, she was right and just tricked you?" I nod my head. "Yeah, I do think it was a trick. Damn sneaky women. You can't trust any of them or even trade them for a good dog." Fearless Freep threatens, "Hey, you'd better not insult my old lady too much or she will make you walk." We watch the close of the report. Present, Samantha and Stacy, on the road. I finish my news report with, "Well, unlike Stacy, I do not want to relive today's spanking, so I promise I will do better tomorrow." I finished, signed off, and turned, "Stacy, I'm not sure I liked that report." Stacy laughs, "Samantha, I will bet you that you and the station runs the report tonight. It will be one of the most watched and repeat-watched reports you have ever done. Hell, the other stations are going to beg to feature the opening part of the report. I state, I doubt that. Stacy informs, I don't. Hell, the whole world is getting to see you getting your butt spanked on TV. Many men and quite a few women are going to make that part of the report go viral on the internet. I complain, that's just sick. Stacy adds, and it's also good ratings. The tabloids are going to have a field day with this. They may even be calling us lovers by the end of the week. I further complain, but there's no truth to that. Stacy laughs. Samantha, you are lucky and work for the one network that upholds truth in broadcasting. All the rest of them twist the news in such a way there is little resemblance to the truth. I'm amazed you haven't learned that by now. I can tell I really need to educate Samantha on news. She has led a sheltered life working for the Truth Network. Well, tonight's report was the start of that education. I ask, what are we eating for dinner tonight? Samantha says, MREs by the firelight. What are our plans after that? I state, well, my shrink is here, so I thought I would spend some time with her. Samantha interrupts with an offer. Do you need some help with that? I think for a moment and answer, not right now, but perhaps later. It would be good if you sat in on the sessions. After that, we're going to get a report from Bill, and then it's time for bed. Odark30 comes early in the morning. Bill comes up and says, the video has been sent to the Truth Network. It should be on the air soon. From his pause, I could tell he wanted to say something else, so I stated, Bill, unless I tell you different, anything you share with me you can also share with Samantha. Bill continues, the Truth Network is reporting that Liz Morgan, Jennifer Donaldson, and others are trapped in some tunnels that were beneath her cabin. Samantha gasps an interruption. No, I don't know what I would do if I lost Liz as my boss. I question, is there more, Bill? He continues, Fort Carson, which is just south of Colorado Springs, is sending a full company of special forces that are going to take control of the whole cabin area. Rumor is they will declare martial law. I look at Samantha and ask, well, Samantha, how would you like to make a quick trip to Ben's cabin? She attempts to give me a brave look and questions, what about finding Ben? I smile and explain, if I know Ben like I think I know Ben, he is already headed toward his cabin. Samantha jumps up and excitedly says, let's go get him. I nod at Bill and say, well, we can leave after we finish our dinner. Bill, would you please verify the story is true about people being trapped in the tunnels? If it is, then get whatever rescue equipment is needed to open up the tunnels headed to Ben's cabin site ASAP. I also want you to head there ASAP to start the rescue operations and smooth things over with the special forces. I sure as hell don't want them confiscating the guns Ben gave me when we arrive. Bill replies, yes, Ms. However, we are going to leave 2 men with you to make sure you and Ms. Stevens are safe. I nod in agreement, and Bill leaves. Samantha questions, Stacy, why the hell would you want to rescue Jennifer Donaldson? I thought you two were sworn enemies? I smile at Samantha and lie a little. Samantha, we both love the same man, Ben. But that doesn't necessarily make us enemies. Besides, how could I ever live with Ben if I knew I let Jennifer die? And if Ben ever found out about that, he would hate me forever. If I'm going to win Ben from Jennifer, then it needs to be a fair fight. Yeah, Samantha doesn't need to know that Grandmama taught me to keep my friends close and my enemies even closer. Samantha's phone rings. She answers it and then gets all excited. It's the network. You were right, as they love the report, and I've just gotten a 90% rating for tonight's report, my highest ever. How can I ever thank you, Stacy? I smile and say, Samantha, if there's one thing I know about, it's the news, because I've been on the bad end of it so many times. We're going to educate you on how to give a truthful report that also blows all the competition away. Samantha states, just as long as I don't have to get any more spankings, I'm still sore. I laugh and fondly remember when Ben's spankings made me sore. Present, Byron, Inga, and Tom. It's raining hell on the narcotic lord. I notice as the chopper starts to spin up, I calm the others and state, they are starting the chopper. It might be the narcotic lord making a run for it. Tom says, or it might be a ruse. I order, it doesn't matter, we're taking it out. Concentrate your fire on the chopper. A few shots later it goes up in flames, however it doesn't feel right. I calm everyone. Guys, I think Tom is right. I think it was a decoy. What are your plans? The team leader replies, we have a mission to finish and I'm not ready to bail yet. Inga suggests, why don't you all stay here while Tom and I do forward recon? When it's clear, we will call you to follow. Tom complains, do I have a say in this? Inga says, please Tom, will you help me? I need someone to hold my 6. The guys laugh and Tom says, you mean cover your 6? Tom capitulates and I add, and we will keep eyes on the compound and the road for you. Hey Tom, why don't you give that mortar to someone so they can keep the AO lit up? Tom complained, okay, but I'd better get her back and in one piece. Another round lights up the AO, and we watch Inga and Tom separate from the group. Once they're a short distance away, my phone rings. I answer, you Tom? Dear listeners, Please share your thoughts in the comments section below and don't forget to like, share, and subscribe.